The way they did him, absolutely not.
Oh, we're live.
Hello.
Hello, it's Jen. So it's gonna be me and Mischa tonight. I'm not sure where Shelley is, but maybe she'll come, maybe she won't. And we have a very special guest tonight, Justin.
Hey,
What's going on? Yeah, I made you guys start early, so maybe that's why you're not here. But happy to be on. Happy to be on.
Good, thank you so much. No, we really just the reason we go a little bit later like that was really just during the season, not to step on anybody else's toes. But just as long as I see, I'm not disrespecting somebody else, it's cool. Mischa?
hello everyone. This is Mischa Houston. I'm so happy to be here. I want to give a shout out to Pete Easy in our chat. Hello, Pete. Welcome. And check out my YouTube channel under Mischa Houston. Check out my Facebook page under Mischa Houston. Check out my Instagram page under Mischa_Houston. And you'll see more of me. Thank you so much for having me on tonight. I'm always happy to be here. If I had the time, I'd do live streams every day. What's up, Justin? What's going on?
I am trying to find us on YouTube right now, but we were before we came on talking about a little Littlefinger, Sansa, Arya. We're talking about one of the theory videos I had that had Sansa killing Arya, even though I knew it wasn't going to be true, and all the hate I got. Just crazy comments like
you got haters.
Yeah, just like I'll fucking kill you. Like Arya and Sansa love each other. I'm like, no,
they do not.
Yeah. Of course they didn't end up happening because D&D won't do it, but it's like when Lady got killed after she got in a fight with fucking Joffrey, like they fucking despise each other. They never liked each other. But people build up nostalgia in their head. They're like, she's a Stark. I'm like, okay. All right.
I know that they've always had a strange relationship, and that's okay, especially between siblings. But when she came at her with that knife, that was it for me. That was it. And I don't care who it is, no matter how much I love the person. Once you get violent with me, once you threaten to peel off my face, you and I are done. She would have gotten, if it were me, she would have gotten either punished or banished right along with Littlefinger's death. She couldn't be around me. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't like it when people threaten to cut my face off either. I get a little bit upset. I'm like, hey man, calm down.
I don't like it when somebody tries to hold something over me, like in any fashion. Like I have a neighbor. If we get loud over here, if anything goes down over here, she used to always be like, "I'm calling the police." I'll be like, 911, Suzanne, 911, do it, because I can't stand somebody trying to hold a threat over me.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And Sansa should have just told her, like, shit was fucked up. Like what are you talking? Like, I was under distress. Like, everybody knew I was under distress. Like, they even said it. Rob said it. Like, when he got it, he's like, yeah, she's all, like, what else would she do? Like, not everybody's a fucking faceless maniac. You know what I mean? Chopping all their heads off, killing whole families.
Yeah, absolutely. And she really showed how horrible a ruler she would be when she suggested to kill all the people that practically helped them all get Winterfell back. Oh, well, let's just cut off all their heads and they'll be all ours. I mean, the fact that she's even still alive, she wouldn't survive the Game of Thrones. It's good that she got the separate storyline that she got, the assassin storyline that she got, because she would be awful in the political game. Absolutely.
But she still needs to be, when we're talking about this, like, violence in Game of Thrones is not rewarded. I mean, yeah, sometimes it's rewarded immediately, but in the long run, it comes back and fucks you. I mean, and this is a theme of George's, and Dan and Dave just write Arya like a fucking superhero when she's not. She's a fucking serial killer. No. But there's no consequences for her violence. You know what I mean? And the Veil is something that, number one, I have a big issue with the Veil just being in the North and swearing allegiance to a Northern king, because that don't make no sense. But the point is, they are the freshest army. They're the reason they won the Battle of the Bastards. So, like, okay, they made it because what's his face doesn't like Littlefinger. Royce. What's the full name?
Brian John Royce.
Yes, Brian John Royce. Yeah, he just stepped back, but it's like you would need to tiptoe around that situation, because Littlefinger they should have. I mean, obviously they could have done so many more things. Littlefinger manipulates Robin, which he should have been in the series as well. So all it would have took is a little bit of talking to Robin and giving him another Falcon, and he could be like, hey, first off, all you guys are like totally like fucking like going against all the rules of fucking like monarchies, and you're totally just like fucking shit up. You are swearing allegiance. That's treason. Like, he should kill all of them. Like, he'd be like, just get back here. But, let's just say that he's cool with them just, chilling up there forever. Nobody's in the area to protect him. Littlefinger could have reached out to Robin, and that would have been a big issue. You got to tiptoe around. I miss the old political intrigue is what I'm saying. Like when things had consequences. But now it's like, just kill Littlefinger. Who cares? It's like, well, what if it didn't go right with the Vale? What if they would have been like, we should go home? He does have Sweet Robin in his pocket, but I guess Sweet Robin's not a thing anymore. So.
I guess now I don't know why they disappeared Sweet Robin. He should have definitely been there. He absolutely should have been there. That was one of the first things that I thought of when I saw Littlefinger die. What are they going to say to Sweet Robin? What are they going to do? Because Sansa is in a strange predicament. She lied for him, but Sweet Robin may not want to see her as anything but guilty. Because what is Sweet Robin gonna say when he asks, "Where's Uncle Peter?" What are they gonna say? And if he catches Sansa or any one of those other people in a lie, they're going out the moon door.
Yeah, because Sansa protected that lie.
Yeah, exactly.
Too. So he's gonna be like, "Why didn't you say anything? Why'd you say that she fell or whatever?" And she'll be like, "Oh, because I was lying because it was cool back then, but now I don't think it's so cool." So. Yeah. Is that cool, Sweet Robin? No, that's another maniac. He'd be throwing her ass out that door.
Absolutely. Broke Black Man is in the chat.
Much more interesting in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey,
yeah.
BBM.
BBM is in our chat. Hello, BBM.
I'm trying to get to the live chat.
I always watch from my phone.
What is our topic for tonight, ladies and gentlemen?
Well, I was just thinking we'd talk a bit about what we think about the White Walkers. As since Shelley, we're all three book readers as well as show watchers, right?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I think that was the most positive you are. That's why I didn't bring it up before, because I know you have vast knowledge. Okay. I thought we would just talk a little bit. And by the way, while we're talking about how the Vale does tie into this, mind you, remember in the prologue of game, that is his youngest son that gets killed, first death, I believe, by the White Walker.
Absolutely.
And so even though they are not generally subjects of the North, I think it's kind of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I think that's kind of the relationship that they have. They also used to intermarry quite a bit.
Yeah, I have no issue with the like helping and all that. I mean, and yes, I mean, of course, the Vale in the North, they joined forces, and that's what won. I mean, yeah, the Stormlands too, but that's what won Robert's Rebellion was the Vale, the North, and the Stormlands. So yes, there's no doubt that they have a strong relationship. But I guess I can't get too mad because if you want to talk about succession, it's fucked all across the board. Cersei doesn't become queen after Tommen dies. That's not how that would have worked either. But that's just getting nitpicky. So I had a little bit of an issue with them, like with them, swearing allegiance to a king in the North. Yeah, number one, they're not from the North, and number two, they shouldn't be like they're sworn to Robin. Like that's treason. I'm just imagine, okay, if somebody, let's just say it's the 1600s, swore allegiance to like Queen Elizabeth, and then went and swore allegiance to like King Louis. In France, like you can't do that shit. Like that wouldn't have been cool. They would have been like, "Hey, we're gonna fucking kill you." You know what I mean? Like that's not how that shit goes.
But I mean, I think I would have
Tower of London if you were in England, and definitely.
But whatever.
Well, I don't understand how people think that Cersei is actually I mean, I hear people say that, and I've seen explanations for it, but in my mind, and just being a student of history and literature, it seems like there would be a more distant relative coming out the woodwork to oppose her.
Absolutely, it would have been a cousin.
Doing, so yeah, I don't see where, unless she still had a living child by Robert and was nothing more than regent, that the crown would have went to her.
It wouldn't have. There's in no case would that have happened. That would have been like in the War of the Roses when Edward died. His mom.
Elizabeth Woodville.
Our Elizabeth Woodville. Yeah, you know what I mean, like Queen Regent or whatever, Queen Mother. Yeah, that's not how the shit works.
Regent.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand why people would have wanted Cersei to be the ruling monarch. I mean, she's been queen for 20 years, not too different from Elizabeth Woodville, the White Queen. But as far as Cersei goes, I mean, to me, she is the queen. She's gonna be the queen to me, even though I hate her.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that she.
It's not a position that's foreign to her. I mean, when you look at Cersei, you see a queen, even though she's a evil bitch. Excuse my curse.
She wouldn't have had the support of the small folk. I mean, she just blew up the Vatican. But I agree that they just should have made it be a power move. They should have had just one line of dialogue that would have just made me not complain, being like, well, we actually have to go and find a cousin or whatever, and her be like, no, that's not necessary. Just take the fucking crown. Just be a bad bitch like she is. But no, they're just like, yep, that's how it goes. I mean, just, I don't know. I guess that's nitpicky, but, and again, she blew up the sept. That, you can't, I mean, religious people, especially poor people, especially in the Middle Ages, man, you cannot underestimate their faith, because their faith
was all they had.
Oh, that's all they had. I'm not a believer myself, but I'll tell you what, to underestimate a middle age, somebody from the Middle Ages, especially a peasant, their faith. No, don't, because that's what they lived for. Yeah. That's all they had. So you go blow up that sept, they're gonna be pissed.
But I mean, once again, even though I hate Cersei, I understand why she blew it up, because they were trying to kill her. And I mean, she said it first in the beginning. I mean, you either win or you die. There's no middle ground, and she plays that perfectly. She plays that role perfectly.
BBM says that Cersei is, and I 100% agree, evil, sexy, beautiful bitch.
Absolutely.
Oh, he loves her. He loves her. I mean, Lena Headey is
I love her crazy. I understand Cersei. I really do. And while I'm not a person who generally is very vindictive, I understand her resentments and her hurts and her pettiness to an extent. I really, really do. And that's why I enjoy watching her so much. And the show is going to suffer when they do kill her, because a lot of the redeeming qualities to this season were pulled out by just sheer force of good acting.
Yes,
Lena Headey never phones it in. She is so good, and that's why Cersei's excellent. I don't agree all the time with the way they take Cersei's story, but I can. Besides the Jaime stuff, because she's so manipulative and she's such a bitch, she is. You can see. I agree. Like how she would be so just pissed and just so vindictive because of the shit she's been through. But the Jaime stuff with her manipulation of him and her just beating him down just so she can keep him around, and so I just can't stand that. But I like it. I like the story. I mean that happens in real life, so I enjoy it. But it makes me not like her as a character.
Oh yeah, you can't really like her too much. not a woman like that.
BBM loves her.
Awful. Yeah,
I enjoy her very, very much. I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I swear to y'all, I just, oh my goodness.
You love Cersei. I know you do, Jennifer.
Last year, my favorite scene was when she told Septa Unella, "Oh no, you're not gonna die today."
Oh yeah, that girl.
And then this year, my favorite one, and it's my favorite episode too, was the Queen's Justice, when she was like, what was it? Kyburn, the cleverest man I know, the long goodbye, the long, and he's that creepy motherfucker. And he's just like, no, the long farewell. That's the one. Yeah, just, man, those two, what a dynamic duo. Creepier and golly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, absolutely. I wouldn't mind calling them. Yeah, maybe we can kind of switch over to the Sand Snakes. And even though they didn't really impress me that much, I thought their death scenes were absolutely beautiful. I loved their death scenes. Those were the best scenes that they had to offer. Absolutely, when they died. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Well, yeah, they did it well, and we wanted to see them die so much because that was bad.
But
so it was smart. They were smart with the Sand Snakes. I mean, they were not smart. I'm saying they were smart after they fucked them up. They were like, okay, so let's have them have epic deaths because that's what they want. I'll give them that. And they also fixed Euron a little bit, even though he's kind of like a Hot Topic model now. He sucked last season, and they have kind of, they I don't know what he is, kind of. He's weird, but they've done something to kind of fix that. You know, I'm glad they just didn't write him off.
Yeah, and in the sixth season, they kind of had him like a more of a mixture of Victarion, the big dumb brute, the dullard. And then this season, they made him more flamboyant, which worked beautifully on him because he's such an outrageous character.
Absolutely.
And I just thought it was a beautiful turn, and it was actually Pilou's Aspects. I'm assuming that's his name, the actor who plays Euron. It was his idea. It was his idea to do that, and it was a very smart.
I really liked the way that went.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, Marie. I see your comment. She said it's because Pilou
is Marie here? I don't see.
Yes, Marie is here. Hello, Marie. Yeah, she says that's because Pilou had some say in his betrayal. Absolutely, he did a great job.
Okay.
Yeah, he had swagger when he was walking. He was cunning and a little bit charming to even a point until he asked about ass play with Jamie. But he had a little bit of charm. He had a little bit of charm. Up until then. But he's but I like him because he's like a loose cannon. He almost reminds me of like a little bit of a Joker. Yeah,
I like it. I love the way. I mean, I hate to even say this. This probably reflects upon me badly, but I like his crazy. I mean, I'm almost attracted to it.
Oh yeah,
I'm almost attracted to just you don't know what's gonna come out of his mouth.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's like that relative, and you're at the you're wherever, you're in Walmart or you wherever, and you with that one relative that'll just say and do anything, like the damn person who can't bother to get dressed to go to Walmart. You got your Aunt Val with you, and then she's in Walmart yelling out, "Why ain't y'all got no more of this style of toilet paper?" across the whole Walmart. And you're just like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's fun until you got to live with them. Yeah, and especially
he's that crazy relative that comes to Thanksgiving dinner and you warn your just good friends beforehand. Hey, I've got this crazy uncle Pilou. He's been, on the
trying to kill me. He's trying to kill.
He's been drinking.
He's not a good uncle.
He's kind of crazy. Just like I want to see that. Who's that dude, Seth, who always does the skits? Like he did that brilliant Sandra skit. Where he invited her to dinner, and all she kept talking about or the one where he had Kit Harington to dinner as Jon Snow.
Seth Meyers.
Yes, he definitely needs to do one with Pilou or whatever in some capacity where you just don't know what's going to come out of his mouth.
Euron is a wonderful addition. He's enjoyably evil. But I can't wait to see what he's going to do in season 8. I'm very much looking forward to him, and in the books as well. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know you guys know Bran. I mean, Bran is in love with Euron, and he really gets into the prophecies with Euron, and he's got a lot of interesting stuff. I don't go that far, but yeah, Book Euron is a shit. Book Victorian is a shit, and yes, they tried to merge him, and I think they abandoned that. That was smart, like you said, Mischa. I mean. The book Euron is epic, and I wish, even though he's a latecomer in the books too, I do believe they should have brought him in like at least season 5 if he was going to play as large of a role as he is, because I expected him to die this season, to be honest. I didn't know that they're going to continue on with him kind of being the big bad. So it's interesting. I mean, that Pelu or what? I mean, get a goddamn American name. I know that's a terrible thing to say. That's the most that is the most ignorant shit to say ever. But whatever. You too, fucking Nikolai, Jamie, you bastard. Get an American name, damn it.
Well, I mean, they're both of them are from Denmark, I believe, are they not? Denmark or the Netherlands or something like that.
I'm looking that up right now.
Yeah.
Well, he was on the Borgias too, which I'm really big into the history of the Renaissance, and it's not too great like factual wise, but it's a good little series if you're especially in between Game of Thrones.
Showtime?
Yeah, he plays. He's on that.
Wait, what is it?
The Borgias. Yeah, there's two different ones.
I've seen those. Yeah, that's okay. There's two of them. There's the one Showtime did with
the Netflix.
It's pretty good, and then there's the Netflix one which Sam is in as well. And
yeah, he plays a Medici.
Yeah, I enjoyed both of them. My dad told me that was too much for him. I got him those DVDs for Christmas, and he said he couldn't get behind it.
Yeah, I mean, they're both history. They just fucking it's bad.
He usually likes that kind of thing.
But I love both shows. So Netflix is a little bit more of a slow burn, but I like it more. And they actually finished it. Showtime, he abandoned.
Yeah, they abandoned it, and I thought Jeremy Irons did a really good job with that.
Why did they abandon that show?
I believe that's when Vikings got bigger, and it's Michael Hirst. So same people, because that was his big thing after the Tudors was the Borgias, and it just didn't take off like they expected. They premiered the same time at Game of Thrones. I remember watching the episodes like side by side. So I think I don't know. I mean, whatever. I think it had a lot to do with Vikings, because Vikings, they thought they were only going to have one season, and look at them now. So I believe that it was that time when Vikings got more money. So yeah, he's from Denmark, you bastard. Get a name I can say. I can't. Yeah.
Let's take it back north because we wanted to have a discussion about the first chapter, the prologue chapter in Game of Thrones. And we were talking about the White Walkers, and we were also talking about the three rangers that went out in the haunted forest to try to track the wildlings. And I thought that those three men really represented the people of Westeros in an amazing way. There was Waymar Royce, the smug High Lord. There was Will, who was the youngest, one of the younger people who were completely bored and disenchanted with the whole thing. And then there was Garrett, that had been in the Night's Watch for about 40 years. And he was tired and old and completely jaded because of all of his years in the Night's Watch. And I thought that those three men really represented the people of Westeros. Any one of the characters you can kind of see in those three characters.
That's really well put. Yeah, I always enjoyed the prologue because it showed you right away that the threat was real. You know, they didn't like usually a show it would have left it ambiguous. And I love the line that Royce says, like, dance with me, or so is in the like
dance.
I don't know why they didn't do that in the show. They should have done that, and that's such a badass line, you know. I never thought about it like that, but you're right. It's showing.
And obviously a synonym in their nomenclature.
The nomenclature.
Fight.
Yeah.
And I want to come back in with that word. Talk about something.
And
what I want to say is that we really don't know the nomenclature of the White Walkers.
No,
that's
we don't.
what they have not given us, and there is more to them than just maybe not the whites, but the White Walkers themselves have a whole culture and a whole language. They laugh at people. They leave living witnesses. There's a method to their madness, and I just don't feel like we're getting any of that.
No, we don't get that in the show, but we got a lot right there in the prologue. A lot of it in the prologue. They have armor. As I said before, they have armor. They're wearing armor. They're standing around toying with Waymar.
Yeah,
they knew. Him. Yeah, they knew that they could break his sword automatically, but they decided to stand back and watch him tire himself out.
Yeah,
and it's ridiculous.
Out.
Right, exactly. They let him wear himself out.
And they laughed about it.
They laughed about it, absolutely. And they knew that they could have him, down at any point, but they just wanted to sit back and watch and watch him make a fool of himself, knowing that he was just fighting a battle that he couldn't win.
Well, it's fury in the north.
Mischa, I don't remember in the books. Does Sam get passed by the walker just like in the in the show? Do they see Sam and continue on in the book?
Well, okay. Samuel's chapter, he runs right back into Chet, which was one of the prologue chapters. I can't remember which book. And he kills him. He fights him and he kills him. So he does run into him, but he doesn't run into any other White Walkers except Chet.
Okay. I completely agree with you. And I was talking about this in the live stream with me, BBM, and Bran, that the show is really going to have to, in my opinion, nail down and have it so we have some empathy, and it's not just good versus evil, because like I said, this story is supposed to destroy the C.W. Lewis, the token fantasy tropes of bad versus evil. I always say bad versus evil. I did this last one too. Good versus, evil. There's no orcs and humans, but if you keep doing the White Walkers like they're doing, they're just the fucking orcs, and you're not sticking with the theme of the book. We need to see what they're about. And you're right. Like the Night King too's been toying with. I mean, John, he's just been staring at him. They seem to just sit back and observe. But I really want to see what their story is. And same with the Children of the Forest. It's like it doesn't all add up. I mean, like the Children of the Forest to me seem like
they seem shady.
It just seems obvious. Like it's pretty heavy-handed that they're fucking like it's like they're helping him in the tree, but I'm like, you fucks need to leave too.
Those Children of the Forest are shady. They don't come right out and say, Bran goes through a lot of, we go through a lot of stuff before they just come out and say, we were dying, they were killing us, we made a mistake.
Yeah. But another thing too that I'd like to touch on that in Mischa, wow, it really makes me think about that, because I love it so much. I love the introduction we get to all of our characters, because another thing that's interesting is we meet the Starks, who we all immediately love, right? But we still immediately love them after we see them kill William, is that his name?
Garrett. No, Garrett. Will died by Waymar Ross. It was Garrett.
Actually, they execute Garrett, but you still, we know that he's running for a good reason,
right?
You feel no resentment for the Starks. At least I don't. For some reason, it's done really well. It
was done well, and even what he later said to Bran when he said, "What did he die brave?" Or in the books, he said Robb said he died well. He died a good death, and John said no, he was afraid. And Bran asked his dad specifically, this is one of the best lines in the whole book is, you're not being brave unless you are afraid.
Yeah.
And that's what he explains to him. He said, well, do you think he was lying? Because he didn't understand. Well, if you're saying, he said a man sees what he sees. So he didn't exactly not believe him. Yeah. It was his duty to go back to the wall.
Yes.
To run. And that's why he got killed. And what they also did to us in the TV show was they switched it from the younger ranger that was with Waymar Royce, Will, getting killed. Did y'all notice that?
Yeah.
The younger dude that lived in the TV show, but in actuality in the books it was the older, more experienced ranger who was starting a fire and putting the horses away that actually made it out of there.
I just like to think about what do you think if we would have saw the Lannisters do the same thing the Starks did? Would we immediately dislike them? You know what I mean? Like, it's just the way they play the Starks right away. They play them really well. They make you like them, I mean, I guess there's a lot of lines that attribute to this, like Catelyn saying, "Do you have to?" You know, showing that this isn't something that he takes joy in. It's about honor, but I mean, that's established in both show and book very quickly. We don't get a long time to get to know them before they're chopping off a head of somebody we know to be like,
I think
you're running for a good damn reason.
Yeah, I think the reason that everyone responds so quickly to the Starks is because there was such true, genuine love throughout that family that was not present in any of the other major families. It wasn't there in the Freys. It wasn't there in the Lannisters.
I agree.
It wasn't there. I mean, they show true and genuine love for each other.
And I think Jaime and Cersei show some real love, Mischa. I think that, you know,
their love
you tell me that ain't love.
Yeah, but you know their love.
I forgot about that. Fast play.
Their love is completely and totally perverted, but the Stark love is genuine and healthy, and that is why everyone responds so deeply to them, and that's why I responded because their love was genuine. I mean, even at the wall. Excuse me for interrupting you, Justin.
No, I know.
Even at the wall, the reason why they responded to Jon so much is because he brought joy and love into the Night's Watch. When he screamed and shouted with joy that his brother was alive, that Bran had lived through the fall, everyone flocked around him because he had love for his brother. It was the love that they flocked to. And that's why I personally myself always flock to the Starks more than any of the other family.
Family that lives on your block, they're little pink houses for you and me. You know what I mean? They're that couple. They're always cordial. They always get along. They seem to really be in love. Whereas, you know, you look at Robert Baratheon and Cersei's marriage, and you're like, you know, they can barely stand to be in the same fucking room. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that they are the type of people that, I mean, they don't try to, you know, break the wheel. Definitely, they just accept, even if they don't really agree with what's going on with the rules, and they carry it out. You know, Ned is an honorable man. He doesn't really agree, you know, probably with everything, but that's the type of person the Starks are. They just stick to it. You know, Jon now, obviously, because he's not all Stark, he's you know, ran a few audibles, but they, for the most part, just do what society expects. But I just think it's really interesting in book and both show that they because if you're writing, that's taking a big risk. You know, if you have a family that you want the readers to love, which obviously they need you to love, else all the shit that happens doesn't mean anything. To have them kill somebody you know to be innocent, but you know, right away. So I thought that it was done well and it was a risk. But yeah, I mean, technically you should have went back to the wall. So, I mean, and that's, they're not going to question it because that's the rules. They're not going to be like, well, but this happened. No. It's the rules. It doesn't matter if there's a monster or not, you know, it's the rules.
Rules. Yeah. Like in a way, the way, hey, Shelley's joined us. You can weigh in on this after I say this. I had a teacher one time tell me that that's what she admired about me, that I was always pretty much black and white, that there was no gray area with me. Either it was right or it was wrong. I've since evolved into a person who thinks there's nothing but gray area. However, Ned Stark had that mentality. This is the way, and, you know, simple people especially can get behind that. You know, the justice of that.
Well, it takes a lot of strength too. I mean, both ways to break the social constructs and actually to just abide by them, even despite. I mean, look what Ned struggled with his whole life, knowing about, you know, Jon and stuff, and trying to live this honorable life. But, you know, there's always those people that are going to just, you know, they're sticklers for it. And society kind of needs that. But society also needs like outside thinkers. But it's, you know, they're not gonna look for reasons to not follow the laws, you know, especially in a feudal, you know.
Well, like it says in the book, there's a line that said, when a Stark was in the north, a girl could walk naked on her name day down the King's Road and go unmolested. You know, so they were a very I mean, you know, what's good?
They're a steady hand.
Good for the few, good for the many. They're very a calming and stable leadership.
Yeah, that's a steady hand. Yeah,
Yeah,
they don't. Yeah,
with them, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? So I think that's why so many people like the Starks and identify with the Starks, because they do try to be as fair as they can be. There, they certainly are portrayed as more fair and less, you know, favor giving than any of the other people.
Yeah, I mean, they were just good people. They were just, I mean, simply put, they were great people. When everyone else was scheming and plotting and lying their way through life, I mean, they told the truth. They were just good people. And how could you, I mean, not gravitate toward that as a viewer? I know I could, because it seemed like every other family just had some hideous underlying evil running through their blood, and the Starks just didn't have that. They're just good people.
Yeah, but they have it to a point. Like Catelyn, you know, her treatment of Jon. You know, I mean, there's some things, and I get frustrated even before Ned got his head cut off with his just inability to call the audible and be like, all right, it might be good for me to just fucking like do the thing that's gonna work other than the thing that I'm supposed to do. You know, that honor. You know, I mean, George has a short story where it's this soldier that ends up dying by all of his medals getting synced into his chest, so his honor literally kills him. It's like this like space story. So like George like uses that a lot in his other works. You know, he where honor always fucks people over. Like that was literally honor killing somebody. I forget. It's called like The Soldier. It's this guy that lives on this planet and he wants to retire and come to Earth, but the gravity's different. So like he has to go through these tests and they end up having all those metals go through his chest. It's really interesting. But
what's the name of the book?
It's from A Thousand Worlds.
A Thousand Worlds series.
It might be The Hero. It might be The Hero. But it's a short story. It's really interesting to read a lot of those short stories. I can't say they're all great, but you can definitely see. Short story. Yeah, you can definitely see like where Game of Thrones came from. Like you can see fingers, you can see Jaime's. You know,
I heard about a song for Leah. Mm-hmm. What was the name right after Lyanna Stark? I know for sure.
And I find it interesting that he was admittedly a conscientious objector during the Vietnam War, yet honor and answering the call to arms is a major theme in the book and the show.
Oh yeah.
So but that's why it's a gray area, because honor too, in his case, the honorable thing was to not go because he didn't believe in it. So you know that's where the line is, and that's where it gets gray, and that's what it's supposed to be. There's no black and white in this story. In the show, there's some, which is fucking stupid. But yeah, there's nobody's right or wrong. You know, it's you know, I just hope they make the White Walkers, like I said, have a little bit of diversity. Have I want to feel something for them. They can't just be the orcs. They can't just be the monsters.
Speaking of the White Walkers in that chapter, there was one more thing that I caught. In that, hey Shelley, how you doing, hon?
I'm good. I'm just kind of listening in on what you guys are talking about, and when it comes to the Starks, with me being a show watcher more or less, I found that annoying where they were just so. I don't know if I can call it like that goody two shoes kind of mentality, but they just. Like when Jon sat there, and I know I'm gonna reference the show, of course, but when Jon had sat down and he pretty much told Cersei, "Oh yeah, well you know I already bent the knee to Dany, so I can't bend the knee to you." I was just like, "Oh, are you kidding me? That's the same mistake that your pretty much your uncle made, sitting down and trying to hold on to his honor." I agree. To me. I wonder if it's just something. I understand that they are honor bound and they're duty bound, but I can see that that at least Arya and Sansa kind of understood that they needed to kind of change their mentality and play the game, and to fuck honor every once in a while. Excuse my language. Okay, to let go of honor every once in a while because get you killed, you know.
Yeah, I mean, honor has a place, but you got to get ugly too, and I totally understand that. But I'm an honor girl. I want, for people to be a good person as best they can.
But I agree with Shelley, right? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very annoying because, okay, is it honorable to like really fuck that situation up? Is it honorable to get all your men killed because you have to be honest about one thing? That's where the gray area comes. It's not just, oh, they're so good. Is that really being good? Is that really being good? Look at all the shit that happened because Ned had to be honorable. Then you got the Boltons flaying people. Is that really good? Is that really honorable? You know what I mean?
And it makes you consider because. It makes you consider because if you were looking at it in the gray line, sometimes you do have to make sacrifices that are kind of dark and destructive, but then it serves a bigger purpose. So with GRM painting them as just such this sticky, sweet, honorable type of individuals, as the Starks are, they end up kind of creating more problems and chaos by trying to keep honor and duty. And so it's like they can't sit down and they can't look at the bigger picture and say, okay, well, I know that I'm supposed to keep my honor, but I want to turn around and protect my people, or I want to do something else. And sometimes,
baby.
well, they address exactly that.
Have to do.
I can help myself.
No, you're good, and that's what I was just like, and just watching the show as it is. At least I'm glad that they show that some of the Starks understand that. Like, at least the girls have gotten to a point where they understand what's wrong with the male Starks, and in that they're kind of just blindsided by this whole thing of honor and duty and whatever. And they're like, no, sometimes you got to play the game, and sometimes you got to just be a little rotten and dirty.
But let me say this.
And this a great example of this is Jaime, because honor is subjective, number one. And what is honor in a world, in this feudal fucking system that's fucked up? What is honor? To stick by the rules of this fucked up system. Jaime brings this up. Is it honorable? Like all these legendary knights of the Kingsguard of the Mad King's time, they all did all these things that were great. They got the the bandits and the, what was it with that guy, the Smiling Knight, like Arthur Dane killed him and all that. But then he went back. Jaime said they went back, and then they protected a king that raped his wife and burned innocent people because of honor. Objective. Jaime's a great example of it. He stabbed the Mad King in his back, and Ned hates him for it, but he saved 500,000 people for it. But that wasn't the honorable thing. Is it honorable to just honor these oaths that you take? He's like, you take so many oaths, you swear to protect this, but what happens when one oath contradicts another, and they ask you to kill your father? And it's just it's just a great example of it. Oh, these legendary heroes, but Barristan Selmy too sat around when they burned people to death, boiled people to death, and he raped and beat his wife, you know what I mean? And they protected that man, and they're honorable men, because the definition of honor is subjective, and it's whatever the social constructs of the time define it as. And that world is fucked up. So if you're honorable in a fucked up world, you could quite possibly be a monster.
I mean, yeah, that's why part of the reason I really like Brienne is because she has her honor, but she knows to pick up a sword too. And that she walks that line beautifully. And she walks it better than anyone else in the story, in my opinion.
You know who else walks it? The Hound actually walks a very good line between what is right and wrong, actually, without calling much.
It took him a while, though.
To me, killed a lot of fucking people.
Yeah, and he did a lot of wrong, and then afterwards he turned around and he tried to change himself for the good, but then he realized that going the good route, all the people ended up getting killed and slaughtered anyhow. So that's when he had to turn around and defend their honor and their deaths by going right back and killing all over again. So he's kind of learning that balance, as far as from what I can see in the show,
It's all about Faulkner, and that's, and Marie just brought it up in the chat, and it's the story of the struggle within somebody's own heart, the struggle within. And this is what all these characters face.
And that's why I think this show and the books resonate so well, because I myself am always in a conflict with myself over what to do. I mean, just even today, my grandmother is very sick, and I had to make a decision to either take a bus to Baton Rouge or to just kind of wait. My parents are out of the country. I really didn't know which way to go. I have a bag packed just in case. You know, and I still haven't decided what to do necessarily.
Well, that's a good example of there's this little, like, I don't know what you want to call it, a metaphor or whatever, that like if you look at some theology, like it's a situation where a boy is either going to go off to war and fight for his country, or he's going to stay at home with his sick mother. So which one of those? He could go and maybe save a bunch of lives in the war, or he could maybe stay and make his mom's life a little bit better. And it's like, so that's why it's subjective, what is honorable and what is good. He has to choose, you know, what to bring meaning to your life.
What you just said reminds me a bit of Davos. Like when Stannis asked him, what is the difference in one life of a low-born boy to thousands? Remember? And he says, everything and nothing. Isn't that what he says?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's what came up in my mind when you mentioned that.
Yeah, Davos is another one that walks a good line.
Yes, he does. He does.
Absolutely. He's the epitome of common sense. He takes common sense, seat of the pants wisdom in a very complicated game. And he does it beautifully. That's another person who walks the line very well. He's all about common sense. He's grounded, and he plays that beautifully. He brings a bit of calmness to the chaos of the show. He's a very good character. I really appreciate George R.R. Martin for writing Davos in. And I've always kind of seen him as a woman. I don't know why, but
nothing fucks you harder than time.
I mean, I don't know. I just always see
that. I feel that, Davos. I feel you on that, bro.
Well, that's interesting too, because he's a smuggler. You know, he's known as a bad guy, but he is a good guy. So it's another example. And he also did stand by and let Stannis burn a lot of people. You know, so
true. And he's never really taken up arms against anyone that I've really seen. I mean, like, yes, he's fought a little bit here and there, but in all honesty, he's not, and he's not, and he doesn't even try to claim that he is. You know, like, he understands where his strengths and where his weaknesses are, and he also understands that, okay, well, everything isn't like just all white or all black. There's gray areas, and he pretty much he's not going to screw anyone around. He's like very blunt and to the point. And it's just like I kind of wish that John would probably listen more to Sir Davos. Just the best Jiminy Cricket for John in the whole story, as far as I'm concerned, because he does need someone to kind of show him, look, just because you have honor, that doesn't mean that honor is going to turn around and win every time, and sometimes you have to learn how to play the game.
Yeah. Well, there's that saying, at a certain point you have to decide how much sin you can live with. And that's true, you know. And yeah, honor. There's a lot of dead honorable men all over this world, you know, still today.
And I'll tell you, I was taught basically, like, I used to be really wild in my younger days, and I remember I wanted to get in a fight somewhere one night, and my friend Faith looked at me and she's like, Jennifer, if you do anything to that girl, you're gonna go to jail. Do you want to go to jail tonight? Because that's what we're looking at. Do you want to go to jail? And I'm not going to finish that story, but okay, I kind of look at things in terms of that.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I've always turned around and I've always smiled with the cops, so they usually don't consider me to be a threat. I'm too short anyhow, so they're always like, okay. As long as you know how to kind of use your sense of self when it comes to like the cops or something, then I don't know. I've always been able to talk myself out of a situation. I've even turned around and rode in cop cars when I had marijuana in my bag, and they never turned around and did shit.
From the dock for life.
I want to.
This is bar in Mississippi.
I want to welcome Aaron to our chat. Welcome Stephen
Hey,
Gallegos.
Hey,
Marie,
Aaron.
welcome. BBM, welcome.
Hi,
Uh,
BBM.
that's all that I can see for right now. But welcome to our chat. You know what we're talking about. We're talking about Game of Thrones.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
and I think that with the story that we were talking about, people that walk the line really good. I could make, and I can play devil's advocate with anything, but you can make a case for every single one of these characters being good or bad.
True.
And that's what makes them intriguing, and that's why they're written like this. That's why they need to do a good job of these walkers in the last season and make it so we can see their side as well. I can give me any fucking character, and I can give a case for either way.
yeah.
I know that GRM was trying his hardest to not make himself repeat the sins of other Arthurs and everything in the past and whatever, but in a sense, he's kind of still just beating around the same archetypes that is a part of humanity. And so when you sit down and you look at it, then yes, you can look at each character as either positive or negative aspects of.
Sorry, y'all. Hold on. Trying to mute.
Okay, but you can kind of see each character as a little bit good in some of their intentions and a little bad in some of their intentions. And so for my own self, I know he was trying to make that as such a big deal, but in the end, everything is kind of a repeat of itself. And so it's not to say that I'm bashing him for it, but he really didn't turn around and break the mold anything with these stories, except for the fact that he dives very deep into each character and their conflicting issues of both the good and the bad within them. But it's still kind of the same thing, just redone a little bit differently and has a little bit of extra paint on it, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, the show, I mean, if you've only seen the show, I mean, they're kind of messing up. But, I mean, C.W. Lewis and Tolkien, they write the orc, character, which is a trope for fantasy. And they're just evil. You don't even, get to, see them usually talk. They're just fucking pure evil. And they're doing that with the White Walkers, and they need to change that. But besides that, I mean, he really has. And he's also introduced, real life situations, because he always says, why is there somebody else? How do they get them? They never show them, having sex, or they never show, so he just got a little bit. I agree. It's not like he broke down so many walls, but he did in a way. He just added new things, and I really believe that he did stick to the of crushing the trope of good and evil. Now, if we just see all these people band together and fight the White Walkers, and it ends in a battle and a baby, and that's going to be a disgrace to the book. But we'll see. We'll see. So
there was one more point that I had wanted to bring up about that prologue. In the prologue, there were so many clues pointing to the eventual fate of those characters. And if you go through the books, especially, I know the perfect example that I can think of is Robb and the Red Wedding. There were so many clues pointing to that event, just like there were so many clues pointing to the eventual fates of the three men in the prologue chapter. There were so many clues, and I think George did a really good job with the clues. If you look at the clues, I mean, you can pretty much figure out what's going on. I figured that something was going to go on with Robb and that Red Wedding, because there were so many clues pointing. Walder Frey was completely against them, talking about Joffrey and the Lannisters and them. And then you hear another Frey, and you can hear the resentment in his voice, talking about the Starks. You knew there was going to be some sort of a betrayal coming and going somehow. There was going to be some kind of betrayal, especially with the Red Wedding. I saw that coming. You can also.
Do you think it's on purpose?
No, I mean, I think, George, I can't, go into the mind of George R.R. Martin, but I think he wanted us to know something was going to happen. And especially at the Red Wedding itself. I mean, Catelyn just wanted to get out of there. The music was too loud. It was too hot. The food was terrible and half cooked. I mean, you can just tell that something was going down, and all you had to do was look at the clues, and there were so many clues going on in the prologue as well. It really set the tone for the whole series.
But like what I said is, it's really interesting what you said. Do you think that it's interesting that there are so many clues and it's kind of right from the start laid out for us, but we still just want to believe otherwise? We don't want to see Rob die, so we ignore it. Do you think that that's what I mean by, do you think he knows he's doing it? Does he do it on purpose? So we are just presented with the facts, but just like the people of Westeros that are presented with that threat of the walkers and ignore it, this or that, you know, I mean, do we personally ignore it as readers and viewers, you know, just because that's not what we want to see?
Well, I mean, well, go on, Shelley, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, for me, it was kind of painfully obvious that something was going on. And when he turned around and he had that Taisha, I think is her name in the show, when he ended up going with her, and then his mother was scolding him like, well, you were supposed to go with the Frey. And he was like, oh, no, it's all right. We'll be good. And then they walk in there, and for me, I would have been a little cautious with that, because I wouldn't have, for one, paraded the girl that I just pretty much married on the whim and bring her in there and show her off, regardless of how I feel, because it would be kind of a little bit of a tension, in my opinion. And then on top of it, it's kind of weird that they didn't have any kind of backup, or they didn't sit down. And at least if Rob would have either sent his mother in, or if he would have gone and kept his mother outside or something, and just kind of the worst case scenario. But it kind of was set up, as far as the show was concerned, that they were just going to get wiped out. And for me, I was just sitting there and I was kind of cringing, like, no, I don't want to believe it. I don't want to believe it, even though I can see it. And it happened, and it just was like a whole emotional thing, because he's putting it out there, and it's kind of like, are you going to be able to accept it, or are you not going to be able to accept it, kind of deal?
And how is that honorable for him to not honor, you know, like that's a Stark not being honorable for sure. You know, the book's a little bit different. There's a pregnancy involved and whatnot, but in both book and show, I mean, he can't claim it's honorable. You know, he swore an oath and he broke it, and there's consequences for it. But yeah, you're right. I just think it's interesting. I think that because the theme of the story is that they're ignoring the larger threat, I think that especially what you brought up, Mischa, about the prologue made me think about those three and how they represent Westeros. It's really good. You know, it's kind of like laid out right away. There's nothing for a show that we have so many theories about and we wonder so much about. It's kind of so obvious at the same time. But we're also in denial.
Yeah, we got a comment from Marie. She says, "Yep, Justin, we are all in denial. But what the reader doesn't understand is that this is not regular fantasy. George R. Martin was breaking all the tropes, which is true, Marie, and the reader does not get that on the first read." Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Marie. I totally agree with you on that. What was the next topic, Jennifer? Yeah, that
was pretty much all I had, you know, about, like, let's talk a bit about the White Walker. Then talk about what we hope to see from them. Justin had something he wanted to talk about. Justin, why don't you start us with something else?
Let's talk about how we see, let's ignore the book, and let's talk about how we see in the situation that we're in with the show, how we think it's going to play out for season 8. We're not taking the book into consideration here because they're sure as hell not.
That's perfect, because I'll be good with that too. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. We can talk about what we want to see, what we think is going to happen. It doesn't matter, you know.
Well, what I would like to see is, oh Lord, I don't even know. I just want to see the White Walkers and what they're going to do. And, you know, how the D&D are going to interpret the White Walkers, because they obviously have their own interpretation. I don't want to see theirs. compared to how they are in the
only
book.
6 episodes.
Yeah, it's only going to be 6 episodes. Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't even be adverse to the White Walkers winning everything. I wouldn't be adverse to that. I mean, this is a story that doesn't have a happy ending, and I really, really wouldn't be so hurt and disgusted if the White Walkers won. I would love to see that just because I want to see more of them.
Also, it's not a story that should end with a war. A war should not decide this story. That goes against what this story is about. This story is not decided by a war. So I have a feeling there's going to be a baby involved, and there's going to be another generation, because this is a saga. This isn't a story. This is a story. It stopped being a story as soon as Ned died and then Rob died. A saga goes through multiple generations. I got a feeling this is not the last generation that we are seeing. So, they got 6 episodes to wrap it up, and I find that to be very foolish, and I find it to be bullshit that they always thought they were going to, only need 13 episodes. It's like, well, you are rushing the shit out of it, and a lot of the shit ain't making sense. Right. So I call bullshit D&D. You don't know how you're getting out of this. You can't get out of this mess.
They should have turned around, and they should have just hired new showrunners instead of just keeping Dan and Dave to just turn around and make this thing a whole train wreck. But my own self, I kind of see the prophecy going through. I see Jon Snow ending up becoming Azor Ahai, and he has to forge the sword, which means that he has to kill Daenerys. But I think that in one way or another, she's going to end up having his child before, and then he's going to end up on the throne, and he's going to be miserable as all hell. I really see that.
Maria has a wish for the season. I gotta read this out loud. God, I always drop my phone. So funny. That Tyrion's intelligence is restored. Right now, he is so dumb that Moon has better advice.
Oh, poor Tyrion. I think he's going to end up being the only one left of House Lannister after a minute, which is going to be just bittersweet, because out of everyone else, I mean, no one's going to care when Cersei is killed, and I'm just going to love it when she dies. But
BBM's going to care.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true. But that's what he gets for turning around and picking a loser of a female. But anyhow,
absolutely.
Yeah. I got you. I got you, baby.
The mentor for the offspring.
Cersei love. I understand it. I do.
Maria.
But I see
in real life too.
I really do see Cersei and Euron turning around and hooking up, and then Euron just turning around and he's the one that kills her. And then afterwards, Jon is up there and he's having the fight and he's doing all of this, and Jaime actually tries to redeem himself by trying to throw himself again like he did at the dragon, and he does some stupid sacrifice, and then Tyrion is left as the last person of House Lannister, and it's just like a big joke on the rest of the whole family. Like, the one person that they dogged out the most is going to be the one who is going to shepherd their house to the future. And I really see that as bittersweet. And Jon Snow on the throne, upset as all heck, and Tyrion Lannister, the last of the Lannisters. And yeah.
Well, how about this? And it might be a little bit silly, but because with history repeating itself, first off, I think Dany will die in childbirth. And I love Jaime. I love Jaime's character. I would like to see him hold the throne just as he did for Robert, but then get back to King's Landing, him kick Cersei out of the throne, somebody else takes her, he sits on that throne and he waits, and Sansa comes in and sits on that throne, and she decides Cersei's fate. Because I really believe there's more in store for Sansa, because her arc is not complete. I think that would be excellent. But I do think he'll have a hero's death, but I think we're going to see a lot of repeating of history. And I do believe Tyrion,
I think so too. And I honestly think Jaime might be the last hero character. If if we're having things repeat, I think there's more to Jaime than meets the eye, most definitely. I don't think he's just on a redemption arc. He has a that.
But with the way that Sansa has been acting, do you really think she's going to? I mean, like when Cersei had summoned her to go to the King's Landing, she was just like, "Oh nope, hell to the no," and she just didn't. I don't think Sansa is going to leave Winterfell for anything.
No.
It could be burning down and she'll still stay in there. She has gotten to a point where she has learned that the minute that you leave Winterfell, anything and everything will happen. So now she's Lady of Winterfell and she's protected. She's home, like she always says. I don't think she's leaving.
You're assuming Winterfell is still going to be there.
I know, but that's I know, but that's the whole point. Is she will stay there till the end. I really don't think she will turn around and even leave, even with the threat. I think she would rather turn around and die in her own home than try to fend all over again going down south. I really do. And in my opinion, going through the stuff that Sansa has gone through, I would pretty much be happier with a death being home than trying to survive with a bunch of backstabbing people all over again.
Oh no, I don't believe she's going to King's Landing. I don't think she's gonna. No, she's staying in the North. I agree, Shelley, because she don't want to give up being the Lady of Winterfell after everything she went through to get that. Absolutely, she's not going anywhere.
I agree.
What I want to see, I wouldn't bet on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think Sansa is going anywhere. She loves her newfound power. She's not giving it up, not for nothing in the world. Absolutely not.
What do you guys think about the whole Bran might be the Night King thing?
Oh God!
What?
Honestly, with the way that the Green Seer site works, yeah, I could see that. In some weird what is it?
I don't want Bran to be that. I want him to be like Bran the Builder or somebody good, because that's me. Because I think that's another thing. Like you're always wanting somebody to do right and be good, and what I call a feel good movie, I guess. When I'm feeling bad, I have about 3 different movies that are my go-to cheer me up movies. Maybe a few more than that, but you don't want to think that the little brother that got pushed out the broken tower is actually warged himself into being the Night's King or whatever, but actually that might be exactly what that is. And I don't have a theory.
Like some Twilight Zone thing.
Happens or some beautiful video to give you, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, the idea is that he would be warging himself at that moment before that obsidian went in, but it doesn't really add up, because then he wouldn't. It's the way the consciousness goes. He wouldn't be here doing what he is. Bran's an issue. First off, Bran is kind of a monster himself. He's another one that people, I don't know what they think about him, but he's that all-powerful character. It's like, if he's all-knowing and all good, then why isn't he saving everything? I really don't like how they pull him out when they need him, because he can just go and do anything. So why doesn't he just fix everything? If he's good, he should be fixing everything. If he's bad, he should be fucking everything up. It's like they should do something like he's having too much information in his head. Like they've kind of hinted to that, and like have him like having seizures, like he's overloaded. Because it's like they have this like fucking like encyclopedia of everything that's happened just sitting there. This VCR that can rewind, and he can even go in, and they don't even utilize it except for like Littlefinger and shit. You know what I mean? Like they need to be doing it for bigger reasons.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing when it comes to Bran is that he still hasn't really gotten a hold of everything that he can do as far as his dream seeing is concerned. Like it's like he has this immense power, but he doesn't understand how to really utilize it. And so that's kind of his downfall is that because he can't really have complete mastery or control over it. Like just when they had him come in with Sam, and Samuel was pretty much like, oh, well, can you go back and take a look? Like, why couldn't he turn around and take that look beforehand? Why didn't he have that knowledge already? And it's because he still doesn't understand how to navigate his powers and to find everything he needs to. So he's only doing.
That's a good explanation, but I don't think they've done a good job with that in the show. I mean, yeah, I completely agree with you, but I think that's just you being intelligent and like making it good. We talked about this before.
I'm
making it okay in your own.
Yeah,
you're making it okay in your own mind, but they've done nothing to like show that. You know what I mean?
True.
Like, yes, that's very smart and that's very intelligent. I think that's lovely, but I mean, they've done shit. I mean, we're throwing them a lot of bones because
more or less, it kind of can just be that Dan and Dave were just lazy and they just were like, we'll do it this way instead.
When you have a character that's like a god character, or you introduce magic or time travel in a story, it's hard because then you've introduced this like all-knowing being, and it's like there's always that question of, well, then why doesn't this fucker just fix everything? But then there's no story, so it's always hard. I mean, it's difficult.
Y'all remember that? Did anybody ever used to watch this one show where they would find these relics that were haunted or whatever? I used to love this little show. It was like a little 30-minute show, and they would go back.
Relic. I want to say that sounds familiar. Like they were like
they would hop back in town some kind of way and replace the relic, or
no, like it's like I wasn't it like a Ghostbusters kind of deal?
It would be haunted shit or whatever. But they found some guy. He had this little. He could put a slide of a picture of like the Civil War in on the wall, and then jump in there and try to get Lee's sword when he surrendered it, and then sell it for a boatload of money. Anyway, these haunted artifacts or whatever. But I don't even know where I was going with that. I'm sorry, I have the flu. I'm just going to shut up.
Well, it's interesting, like with the all-knowing beings, like they did the same thing with Bloodraven. It's always like the wizard. Like, first off, he never tells them everything they need to know, and there's no fucking reason for it. Like, he's always like, in time, and then that bastard ends up dying, just like Bloodraven. And he did it without telling him like the last thing.
Just like Ned.
It's like, oh no, the last thing you need to know. It's like such a trope that's used every single fucking show. It's like they should have just right away, when you meet a wizard and they say they can solve the problems, you'd be like, you tell me right now. You sit your ass down. I take a gun out, put it to his fucking temple, and be like, you tell me everything right now, because you're gonna fucking die eventually. I need to know. We're not fucking around in a cave or a tree for 4 years. You're gonna fucking tell me what's going on, then we can be cool. But no, it's like, no, I didn't have time to tell you. It's like, you had so much time, dude. We sat around looking at my fucking brother and sister and my aunt and shit, dumb fuck.
Wait, Justin. I'll put it in a different perspective, because like I love reading a lot of Eastern philosophy and stuff, right? And what they always show is that whenever you go to the wise man in Eastern culture, the wise man is always there, and someone comes up and they always ask him like profound questions, and he gives them like the simplest of answers, and they always look at him like he's crazy. Like, why did you give me such a simplistic answer? And what people don't understand is that when you end up having people like have a vast amount of knowledge and education and insight, they get to a point where the smallest explanation can actually be the biggest profound explanation to things too. And so it makes people wonder, like, there used to be a book I used to read that was called The Tao of Pooh and Taoism. And so what they showed was that Pooh Bear is kind of a retard in a sense. He's always so gullible. He's always walking around and everything is so happy and cheerful. And then you have someone like Eeyore, who is always sad and gloomy and everything. Yeah. But what
they all have the they all have some sort of mental illness. But then the funny thing is that Pooh, like if you were to look at Pooh as from a Taoist perspective, he actually understands quite a lot, and so that's why he doesn't take life serious, is because he's like, look, all y'all stressing out about it, in the end, it doesn't even matter what you do. You're here for the experience. Just turn around, buckle in, have fun, and just go with the flow. Like, if stuff happens, and whatever, like, and that's kind of the deal when you have such an amazing character, because I know that in other different myths and cultures and whatever, they try to make them all knowing and all powerful and all this and that and whatever, but they always are infallible. They always end up messing up. So that's why, like, for a Taoist, they sit down and they're like, I probably know everything, but in the end, it doesn't really matter what I think or what I say, because everything is made to happen for a reason. So, like, if you were to use like the Taoist perspective on Bran doesn't really understand everything, but then in a sense he does understand everything, but he's not tapping into everything. And so in a sense, it kind of creates a conundrum when it comes to Bran, because he has the potential, but he doesn't have the knowledge. And without the knowledge, with all of that potential, then it's kind of wasted, It's kind of that's kind of a nihilist way to look at things. That like nothing matters in the end anyways. So choose to use your time how you want. Live in bliss. I guess Pooh's just walking around trying to get honey. But yeah, I agree. And also like what you said about like how it's simplistic. It's either Benjamin Franklin or Jefferson, and that says something to the likes of if it takes you more than 2 sentences or something, or like a few minutes to explain anything, you don't understand it yourself. You know what I mean? So yeah, I agree. But yeah, that's kind of a nihilist way to look at things, and I think that I don't know. I'm kind of a nihilist, so I agree. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, who's the judge? Who's the judge? Pooh Bear. He's having a grand time.
I threw Pooh Bear into Game of Thrones. I'm sorry, y'all.
No.
I mean, that's okay.
That's hot pie. That's hot pie. Hot pie is Pooh Bear.
Pretty much, because all he does is talks about the pies, and when he explains the pie, it's like he's sitting down and he's explaining like Nirvana and shit. Like it's all about the butter. Like the butter is the key to everything, and it's like
his outlook very positive too. He's like, everything's gonna be all right. He's like, don't worry about it.
All you need is butter.
Everything's always
all
okay.
you need is butter.
Yeah. Yeah. To be hot pie. Oh, wow, that'd be great. No,
I wouldn't even care. I'd have that big old stomach and just eat.
Hot pie is
And you know what? And he has all he has to do is thank that butter of his, because if it wasn't for him and that butter in his ingredients, man. See, and my own self, I believe in the butter too, because
everybody's got to have a cook, even the bad guys. But seriously though, that was very funny. When he was like, "Why are you making the pies?" And he goes, 1 or 2. Oh yes.
Yeah, she's been a monster butchering people for 2 weeks. Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, she's a hero." It's like, "You fucking serial killer," but okay, all right. And then she gives a whole speech about how they left one person, and then she leaves one fucking person. What was that about? She's like, "Oh, but you made a mistake. You didn't get rid of all of them." And then she does that with that girl right next. She's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go make that mistake." Or she's like, "Cool."
I kind of think of it like a cat and a mouse. Like, that a cat will sit down and try to kill, but then it'll turn around and just leave that mouse, just that one mouse that's just kind of half dead, because they want to turn around and toy with it. And with her being an assassin, I think she did that on purpose, because in a way she might be trying to challenge them. Like, okay, well, I turned around and I left you alive. Will you turn around and try to come back and do the same thing with me and my family, and will you succeed, or will it be just a whole nother fun game of me killing you kind of deal?
That's a hell of a risk to take for somebody that's had their family butchered. I think that you should go and talk to D&D, because they would probably hire you, because you beautifully make like these nonsensical situations like into great situations. And like,
I can turn around and turn their stuff and just I can turn their crap and turn it into art.
Absolutely.
I'm a good BSer like that, don't you know?
Yeah, so when I see a lack of continuity and just in nonsense, you're like, no. It's a cat and mouse game. It's this, and you do it intelligently. This is very impressive actually. So hey, I'll take it. But you should talk to them, because they probably would hire you, because they are sick of people bitching at them.
From what I've heard,
no, I want to see them fail.
From what I've heard about serial killers and what I've read, they all kind of want to get caught in the end. So I mean, maybe her leaving people alive because she kind of just wants to get caught. I think she kind of wants to get caught in the end. I think like all serial killers do. I mean, from what I've heard and read.
And it's fun for her. It's complete fun, because she wants to see if they're actually going to grow some cojones and come back and try to do what she did. And I kind of consider that I don't think that any of the women that she left alive are really going to be as strong as she is in order to come back and try to get revenge. I really don't. I mean, it's just...
Well, they don't want to spend that quarter of a season in Bravos. It's annoying. So they won't go do that. You're right. Sorry.
No, I don't see that at all. I mean, and even if they did try to turn around and seek vengeance, she would probably just kill them all over again, and then she would be so unsatisfied with it because they weren't a challenge kind of deal, Like she left you to be a challenge, and then you weren't a challenge when you came back. Like, yeah.
I get it. I get the joy of seeing the life leave their eyes, and you feel like God. I get it. I get the whole serial killer thing. But in reality, the reason that they left that girl is to make her to have people be empathetic towards Arya. So that they're like, no, she just murdered a whole bunch of people. So but for some reason, Arya's a hero in this story with the way they write her. So they left the girl for the simple reason of she showed fucking whatever,
compassion,
whatever you want to call it. Compassion, yeah. But she spent 2 weeks murdering and grinding people up, but she showed compassion. That's the reason that they did it. But again, beautifully spun. You are a spin master.
I mean, there are too many Arya lovers out there for me. I'm never gonna cheer for her because sorry, Shelley, honey, but Arya is out of
I know.
Mind.
She plays to my dark essence. That's why. I just if I could turn around and go to Bravo's for a season or two, oh my God, the world would just and I would kill people just for the fun of it, and I would do what Arya does and just play the cat and mouse game and just see if somebody actually has the cojones to come back and then give me like an epic fight kind of deal, you know? I mean, I can see that.
She's calling people out for everybody that's in the chat. Anyone who's watching this, fucking bring it.
And I'm hoping that somebody does, come back on her. I would love to see somebody.
There should be consequences.
Yeah, there ought to be consequences to this. I mean, everyone is paying the price for what they've done, except her. No. Everyone is paid except Arya. I mean, she's had
somebody should just walk up and be like, no, stab her, bad, you're bad. No, this is bullshit, you're bad, no. I don't care. Have it be a fucking member.
But the only thing is that she's already been stabbed and she came back stronger than ever. So I mean, unless you chopping the girl's head off like right behind her back and she doesn't see it coming, then
it's only because her actress friend was across the city. She was able to go to her actress friend and survive, And then in the next episode, what's his name gets stabbed and he acts like a bitch and just dies because that's what happens when you get stabbed. You don't run to your actor friend's house and get sewn up. You die. Lannister.
I mean, you break your leg and you're an actor, you go to Samuel Mudd's house. Yeah.
But what's his damn name? The other Lannister, the one that was part of the Faith.
Lancel.
Yeah, he gets stabbed in the stomach by a kid in the next episode, and he can't even move an inch to get that fucking flame out.
Yeah, I mean continuity errors. Yeah.
Well, see, but to me, when I seen Lancel crawling, I was like, "Come on, man, crawl for your life!" Like, I didn't see him turning around and trying his hardest. I really don't. I mean, I was dying as it is. Just come on, just find that last little bit of humanity or manliness or cojones that you have and crawl like your life is getting ready to go because it is. Crawl, man, crawl. Like I was yelling at him. I was like, what the hell is wrong with you? What happened to your upper body strength? Like, come on. Like
Shelley, it's just bad writing, baby. It's just bad writing. They have Arya.
I know.
Running downstairs, killing people in the dark, and I can't move an inch. Come on.
And he can't even crawl. I mean, he didn't even have any upper body strength, and he's just sitting there. Oh my God! It's like
there's so many instances.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
We were talking earlier about at the wall. Okay, when John fights and kills the white, we were talking about this when we were off air, and then it's like they say that you can't go south of the wall. And then we have the Scooby-Doo mission in this last season where they go and get a white and take him beyond the wall. It's like, stop saying shit. Stop saying shit. When you write a story, you write the rules for that story, okay? And then it doesn't matter. I'm not going to bring up wind chill about Danny because that's ridiculous, whatever. Just don't fucking dive and be like, oh, the Raven couldn't get there so fast. I even forgive that nonsense. But don't specifically say shit like they can't swim in one episode. And then the past episode, those motherfuckers went down and got chains out of somewhere and they swam and they got that shit. Don't say it. Don't say it. There's a script supervisor that's supposed to be there for continuity. Like they remember if somebody has something in their right hand. I know this shit works. And I don't know who the fuck's doing it. They're like, nah, just say they can't swim. Like whether they're swimming last episode, fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck it.
I guess they learned how to swim. They learned that intelligence somewhere between one season and the other. I don't know, but I don't. I can't. But no, the thing that got me about the whole wall was when Tormund was sitting there and they seen all the dead just hanging out. and they're just staring at them, and they're staring at them, and both sides are staring at each other stupid. And I'm sitting there like, no one's gonna. What are you guys doing? Why are you still standing there? They wait until the dragon comes and starts attacking before they say, "Oh, let's try to jump off the wall now. Let's see if we can run." Like,
yeah,
no,
that is true. They
started...
did seem to be shocked when they were there for that reason. Yeah, you're right. They were completely shocked to see like them come, but it's like, why the fuck were you there? Because you knew they were coming. Because they said they were coming there, and then they came there, and they're like, fuck. They're like, well, nothing ever happens that they say happens.
And then they don't do anything. That's the whole point. Is they spend like a good 5-10 minutes just looking at him, like, are you serious? Do you? And then watch. Of course, Tormund is survived that by some weird, crazy means of some magical BS Dan and Dave pulled out their butts. But I don't.
Because we all love the guy that killed the whole village. We all love him. He's a hero. Also, what's up with fucking what's his face? It's it was at the Red Wedding. I can't remember anybody's name tonight. Tully, Edmure.
Tully.
Beautiful scene with Jamie. Beautiful scene with him and Jamie. He's going to Castle Rock and all this. And now this is like Jamie's like arc. So he's turning, like, we're liking him. He's really doing good. He wasn't bullshitting him there. That's not how that scene was written. Next episode, Walder Frey says he's back in the cells. It's like, what the fuck? And Jamie's just like, yep. It's like, so were you lying? Are you a bad guy now? Like, because there was like a whole big emotional scene about saying he's not going in the cell. And then they're like, hey, say he's in the cell. He's like, no, we did this whole thing. They're like, fuck it. Doesn't matter. Just do it.
But then that's the only thing that makes me question is that was he actually put back into the cells, or is it just like a ruse that they told the Frey, like, just to turn around and make him seem like, oh yeah, it's okay, we took care of Edmure. Yeah, he's I don't, and see that's
but it's the cells there. It's the cells there, so like he should know. And if he is there, Arya spent 2 weeks there, so her ass should have fucking got him. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, she was there for weeks trying to prepare and pretending to be Walder Frey and getting all those people together. And she didn't think to get her own uncle out. Yeah, why didn't she free him? That should have been the first thing that she did. That shows that Edmure really wasn't in the actual dungeons. I mean, I do consider that maybe.
Shelley. Yeah.
Well, I know it would. I acknowledge that it would be very bad writing, but I
do believe we're going to get him in the next season too, because they're at River Run doing production. There's a lot of work right now. I think that we're going to get him. We're going to get him, and I do believe we're going to get Robin too. So another person they've ignored the whole fucking the best fucking place to get soldiers they've just ignored. In Dorne.
Now,
where the fuck's Dorne? They were supposed to get the soldiers, and just because those fucking sand snakes died, they're just not fighting. Dorne wasn't invited to parlay.
Dorne is out of the game. Dorne is out. Dorne is out.
The only thing though is do you think that they actually might introduce House Reed now, like so late in the game? Do you think they might actually try to pull that one Hail Mary and bring out House Reed? I mean, I know they had Mir and
before we get to that. Let me read Marie's comments here. What would have made sense was all of them plotting to bring down Cersei. Yeah, let's risk our best fighters to prove to a pretender queen that whites exist. Cersei is going to have to be killed. This is where they went wrong. It makes sense to take out the enemy, not try and negotiate with her. Tyrion called her the mother of madness. Now he's a Cersei sympathizer somehow.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, honestly, it would have been easier to just turn around and take her out.
Yeah, the reasoning behind that, I guess, is because there's now 1 million people in King's Landing, so Cersei needs to protect them. It's like, number one, the bitch that just blew up the freaking Vatican, the Sept, is not the one to protect those people. It's just like Marine. They left Dario, who was like, fuck Marine. He just literally said it like 2 minutes before she put him in charge of it, that they're all dead over there. Like, you get rid of her. There was no reason that they should have risked everybody. Marine's right to go and prove something to the bitch that they could have just rolled through. It's like roll through her. You got dragons. You got the army. You are not a responsible leader. Roll through her. You don't have to get her allegiance.
All Danny would have needed to do was just to let Drogon turn around and finish climbing down those stairs, and then all he would have done is just fired off just one good flame at Cersei, and it would have all been done. And then if anybody else would have said something, they would have been like, "You next? Are you next, Jamie? Are you next?" And he would have just turned around, bent the knee, and shut up, and that would have been it. And
Shelley,
much would have just it would have just been so easy.
Shelley,
so easy.
Let me say this about Danny, and I've said this many times before, especially in our live streams. And Danny doesn't want to appear like what she really is. She wants to appear like a liberator, but the truth is she's just a conqueror and an invader. And the reason why she didn't go fire and blood all over King's Landing is because it will make her look exactly what she is.
I know, but the only thing is that she didn't even have to go around King's Landing to do it. She had enemy number one right there, sitting down right there.
So about what Mischa
all
said.
she would have need to do was just burnt her right there, just right there, just right there, and everything else.
Look back, Shelley.
The prince, he says, to be an effectual ruler, you do not need to be good. You just need the appearance of being good.
Mm-hmm.
And when a tyrant is in charge of a town, you replace that tyrant and you earn the love of the people. That's also Machiavelli the prince. And a tyrant, she's wearing all black. All of her Kingsguard are wearing all black. She blew up the Sept. She's inherently evil. This isn't like, she's not a good leader. Like, she is a tyrant. You go and replace her. I mean, it's simple. Get rid of Cersei. She's not protecting those people.
Cersei, what was I going to say about Cersei? Cersei doesn't pretend to be anything other than what she is. Danny needs to keep up the appearance. See, she made herself into the liberator, so she has to carry that burden more than Cersei does. Cersei can do whatever she pleases, while Danny has to walk that line. She has to look like the liberator.
In my opinion, true, but I mean, I could have, if it was me, and if I was writing that, what I would have done is I would have burnt Cersei and all her little party that had come there, taken the throne, but then I would have done it so subtly, and then the only thing the people would notice is that there's a whole bunch of food, there's money flowing in. And then all of a sudden I would have walked out maybe like a week or two later and been like, oh yeah, I killed that other bitch like a couple of days ago. But hey, you guys got more food and money and better this and that and whatever. And then that's kind of like, if I was going to conquer someone and just take them out real quick, I wouldn't let people know that I took them out. I would turn around and do something for the people first. And then I would kind of sweeten the deal with that. But I mean,
but you don't have to. And the thing is that where they fucked up is they didn't show the temperature of the people. Like they should have showed the people loving Cersei if they really love Cersei. But all they've shown is Cersei is openly having sex with her brother. She's wearing all black. She's done nothing good. She just walks around with Qyburn, who goes and gets kids with sugared plums. It's like she is inherently evil. So it's like, and you don't kill a tyrant. In secrecy, you kill him in front of everybody to let him know you're the liberator. I mean, what? So you would have let Hitler just stay in charge because you don't want to look like a tyrant? No, you're getting rid of a tyrant. That's a good thing. But they didn't show us the temperature. But everything that she's done, all of her actions, would lead any intelligent person to believe that the people of King's Landing do not like Cersei Lannister, the insexual fucking tyrant that's killing. I mean, they're religious people. She killed a shit ton of people. You know what I mean? Like, they can't.
She killed their religion in a sense.
Yeah, they can't be happy with her.
You can't call those sparrow bastards religious. They were just hiding behind their religion.
Well, true, but the only thing is that's just like when you see religious people nowadays, and they're turning around and.
I swear to y'all, I'm Catholic, and that is what the Sept is based on. George R. R. Martin has said it, and I'm gonna tell y'all, before all the scandals and stuff really came out, even after, like my grandmother, like very serious Catholics, is a very serious thing to get to come over when you move in a new house and get your house blessed, and a priest is revered, and a nun as well, and it's a very serious thing to a true believer of the Catholic faith, which is what that was supposed to represent.
We talked about it before the cast, to never underestimate, especially in the Middle Ages, the common folks' devotion and faith, because that's all they had. You know, we have this idea now looking in, and I'm not a believer in organized religion. You know, I won't get into it, but like, yeah, we have this belief now that, yeah, we're kind of seeing that, okay, it's kind of bullshit. I mean, there's a lot of people looking at it like that. They didn't look at it like that because they lived a shit life, and all they had was that hope. And they went to church on Sunday, not because it was some promise something good, but it was actually warm, and they got food. I mean, everything about it was good for them. So it doesn't matter if it was this fucker like the High Sparrow. They would not be happy. You know what I mean? You can't be doing that shit.
Well, the only difference is that in the time back then and between now, we have a tool for the masses that the masses didn't have back then, and that's the internet. And so anybody who has any kind of a smartphone or who has any kind of internet connection, they can either A, become their own journalist, or B, they can end up finding whatever kind of information. So all of these higher religious people that we all look to nowadays, we can sit down and we can look up their past or their history and find out, oh, okay, well, you did this, that, whatever, you slept with this man, this boy, this girl, whoever, whatever, and you kind of went against your own faith. And so that's why a lot of people now don't put too much faith behind a person, because they realize that people are just infallible just like they are. But back then, when they didn't have all of the information, they could only see what was going on in face value. And if this person is turning around and blessing them and is concerned about their well-being, even if it might be fake or something, they took that to heart and they said, okay, well, this person cares about my soul, my spirituality, and this and that. And that's why they had such faith. But nowadays, that faith is kind of broken with that.
Because nowadays, we don't live a life like they live. Nowadays, we live a life where we can sit and talk about a show on the internet. Yes, everything you said is correct, but it's even simpler than that. You can't underestimate that it's been such a short time that we've lived as human beings like we lived. We were able to enjoy life, that we're not just hunter-gatherers, that we're just not trying not to starve, trying not to have our kids die, that we can actually explore spirituality. We can actually explore options in our life. Back then, it was like, hey, wake up, get food, don't die. Wake up, get food, don't die. You know what I mean? They're not sitting there and wondering about, fucking theology and fucking poetry. You know, I mean, in the Middle Ages, it was not a good life. I mean, it wasn't like people didn't live freely, common people, until like the 19th century. And I'm talking about the common people. Yes, the rich always had options, but it was just like, don't die. Just don't die. Get food, don't die. You're not sitting around wondering, I don't think this is correct. You're like, no, don't fucking die. Go get food. Don't die.
True.
I want to say goodbye to BBM. He just left. Thank you, BBM, for coming.
Don't die, BBM.
She's mad because I said to kill Cersei.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "No, my woman, I can't deal with this chat."
No, he said he thought the panel was lovely tonight. So that's a wonderful compliment.
Thank you very much, BBM. Thank you. I feel like I don't really have my game face on. I swear there's some kind of flu going around New Orleans. But
because of the bad weather.
Justin set up for tonight, and I didn't want to disappoint. So
hey, I want to give a shout out to the Lord of the Last Hearth. Welcome, Lord.
Oh, is Tony here?
Yeah, he's here. Welcome.
Hey, cool.
Hi, Tony.
Any more subjects we want to touch on before I go to the question part of the chat?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. If anyone in our chats has a question, please type it in and we'll get to it as soon as we can. I have a question though, and I'm strictly saying this to our new panel guest, Justin. Have you seen the Westeros trailer, the futuristic version of Westeros trailer?
No, I've seen the throwback one.
Yeah, there's a trailer. I've already talked about this to the other members of the panel. I'm asking you, have you seen the trailer? I'm very interested in the show. It's supposed to be coming out in 2019, and I'm so interested in that. I can't wait for that to come out. I'm very interested in that.
Wait, so shit, they actually announced this?
Yeah.
I've got it right here.
Oh, so for the next
It's called
season, right?
Westeros. No, not for season 8. It's a brand new show, the spinoff series.
Oh no,
Oh,
this is fan made. This is fan made. I've seen this. This is not real.
It's not
This
real?
is fan made. No, it's really well put and it's really cool. I've seen this. This is fan made. This would be really cool. And that would be a really cool idea. But yeah, no, I saw this. Now I know what you're talking about. It's fan made.
Oh man, that sucks because I was
really great.
I know it's beautiful. I would love to see a
me,
modern version of Game of Thrones.
Is it from that woman called Beautifully Tragic? Because she ended up making another video, and I had thought that it was real too. And then she ended up telling me, she was like, "No, I just like doing these things." And I was like, "You really had me sitting here thinking," because she ended up making a trailer, and it was called Reign, REIGN. And I really thought that it was from HBO, and it turns out that it was fanfic. And I was like, I guess I'll throw a plug for Beautifully Tragic, but I was wondering maybe it might have been her again, because she does some really amazing trailers to the point where you think it's Game of Thrones.
Hey, Dan and Dave do fan fiction, and they got a show. So,
but I want to.
You are so cruel.
I thought that I've been reading some of the fan fiction actually, and I swear to God, those writers are on point. They write some beautiful stories over on Archive of Our Own. And I've written a few fan fictions as well. And some of those fan fiction writers write just as good as George R. R. Martin. Absolutely. I got to give credit to our fan fiction writers. Absolutely.
Well, something that I've been kind of curious to see is if somebody will actually take up their own version and kind of redo the show the way it was supposed to be done. Like, kind of get rid of the crap that Dan and Dave ended up doing and actually giving the fans a real version of it. I mean, if I my own self had the talent, I would totally do it, but unfortunately I don't have the talent for it. I do have the brains, but I don't have the skills to bring that apart. So
what I would want to see is a radio reading of the book, to do like a series. Like they used to do it like back in the 60s. They would read, it'd be like just on the radio, but to have some voice actors come in and read the whole book like over the radio.
Whales.
Yeah, that would be dope.
Yeah.
I'll shift X.
People think it's really happening, like spacecraft is really landing.
Oh yeah, the space invasion and stuff with the aliens. Oh, that was awesome. I've heard about that. Like how they really thought back in the 60s that it was so realistic that it was happening, and people were like flipping out. And I was like, seriously? I mean, to me, like it seems kind of backwards, but you know, that's because I'm in nowadays and they have so much.
Well, I mean, remember at that time, that's what you would have had in your living room is a stereo. You didn't have a TV, and you listened to programs voice acted over the radio.
Time radio. Yeah.
And so for that, I mean, I don't know. I mean, now it's to the point where everything is so realistically fake that you can even have like an alien invasion now for real, and people would sit there and be all like, "Oh, is that Men in Black 4?" Like, I mean, that's just how sad our society has become.
I just want an alien invasion. But I want them to only take over like something really weird, like the denim jeans, like market. Like that's what they're really good at. They don't kill us. They just fucking they just take over.
It turns out
they're really good at making jeans.
We get a big reveal that Hillary Clinton is an actual alien because that woman is just so out of her mind, kind of deal. I would love something like that.
No. They just got to be doing something that's just so simplistic and it's just really odd. They're all here and they're just fucking. They corner the denim jeans market. Levi's out. Fucking everything's out. They kill it. Like they don't fuck with us, but they're just really good at making fucking denim jeans. Like they make like tight fucking. You know what I mean? Like they make really good jeans.
They're the inventor of the skinny jeans.
Boot cut. It doesn't matter. Boot cut, fucking skinny, relaxed. They can do it. You know what I mean? Like that's what they're good at. Like we think they're gonna kill us. They just fucking make jeans. They're like, yeah, we're good at making shit.
We think it's a sweatshop somewhere in Asia or something, and it turns out it's a bunch of aliens.
Yeah. Well, the kids are the best because their little fingers can make the little stitches the best, so they're really, really good at that. But that maybe the aliens have really small fingers.
I have children. I need to start putting them to work, don't you know?
Oh yeah, that's what you do. You have kids, put them to work. But yeah, I think that would be great. I think we overestimate the the aliens. We think they're gonna just come here and take us over. I think they're just gonna come here and corner a fucking market. Just do it. JC Penney's is out of fucking business.
They're coming for all the big booby ladies.
Yeah.
So everybody on this panel is gone. We're gone.
Yeah.
We'll be abducted.
Well, yeah, it's going to be an issue.
Speaking of slave labor and your kids, this is a true story. When I was growing up, my dad had printing presses in our garage. And one time he took this job. And you know how you go somewhere and you fill out a form, and there's like a white form, a pink form, a yellow form, a green form, and right at the top when it all goes through. Well, you can buy paper that's already collated or assembled in order, or you can buy it separate, which makes it much cheaper. So I'm in the 3rd grade, basically doing white, yellow, pink, green, like 100,000. I swear to God, y'all, I had a meltdown of anxiety in the 3rd grade because I thought we'd never get done collating those fucking papers.
Oh, that's horrible. That is horrible.
I mean, when I could think of something I really dread, it would definitely be putting packets together.
Oh man. Yeah, the last time I did that, I was over here when they had High Times ended up doing their cannabis cup like a couple of months ago, and I went to it, and I was supposed to try to help putting together their goodie bags, and they just were having trouble trying to figure out what to do and how to do it and everything. And I started getting into a groove, and then someone would come in and fuck up something or do something and change something, and then my brain would just be like, but I have a pattern going. What do you kind of deal, you know? But yeah, they switched me to VIP because I was going a little insane.
Well, at least you got a promotion.
One time I had to roll up all posters at the Widespread Panic concert and put them into plastic sleeves. I was pissed about having to do that.
Yeah.
Too. All right. Aside from the fact that me and Shelley have obviously had some really shitty jobs. Let's get back on point.
I think that unless we have any other topics we want to talk about, we're all tied up. We've covered the denim market. We've covered shitty work, everything else.
Pooh Bear.
Yeah.
Menial tasks. Yeah.
Horrible writing. Horrible writing.
I had a good time though. I had a good time.
I'm glad. I mean, we just try to keep it casual here, and just try to keep it casual.
We don't. Oh, excuse me. We don't have any questions in the chat.
Yeah, we don't. No requirements to be on the panel except for to love the Game of Thrones, because nobody, in truth, knows what's going to happen, especially in the books. And I hate it when somebody acts like they're such an authority, because the truth is you don't know. And if you do know, I don't know.
I think you're just calling people out. For all you people that act like you know everything, fuck you. That's what Jen's trying to say.
Just shove it up your butt.
That's not very much fun either, to always be like, I don't know, like, look, I've read the book many times, you know, I have a passion for it, and that's all I'm saying. Like, there's no prerequisite here except for to be passionate about the Game of Thrones TV show or books. Or both.
I really enjoyed Mischa's take on the prologue, and it really opened up my eyes to a lot of different aspects of it. And I've always loved it. But yeah, the way you broke it down was excellent. So
thank you so much. I appreciate it. Absolutely.
I'm gonna go and read it tonight, and it's gonna be so much better because of that. And that's what this is about. I think that's where you're getting at, Jen. It's not that's what I try to do with my channel. If you're not subscribed, please go to Justin Thomas Show and subscribe. Hope somebody will put the link in. But yeah, it's not the look how much I fucking know show. It's a conversation. So
man.
That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not down in it, and I'm not a hater. You know what I'm saying? Do what you want to do on your own channel. I'm just saying everybody's welcome here, and let's just agree to disagree. You know, when you don't agree, you're like adults. Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, me and Mischa, sometimes we just go back and forth. But as far as I'm concerned, I love it when she turns around and she's like, I really don't agree with that. And I'm like, I know. Like, I always turn around and we always go back and forth on the incest thing. We just.
Girl, don't.
I know, I brought it up. I know, I'm sorry.
Mischa is very clever. Mischa has her own channel. She does a couple other shows. Why don't you tell everybody about that, Mischa?
Yes, I do.
Link in as well, Marie. You know I'm not good at that type of thing. Thank you, Marie.
Thank you to Marie for coming in and staying with us all this time. I totally appreciate it always.
I do too.
And
Marie knows she has a permanent spot on the panel whenever she wants. She just doesn't love. Some people, you know what? Some people want to be in the parade. Some people want to watch the parade go by. No, seriously.
I'll be so high. I'll be watching the parade and just end up just walking through.
There are parades.
As far as my channel, yes, I do other shows. I'm thinking about doing American Horror Story. I've always been a fan of that show, and I want to, get a challenge because that'll definitely be a challenge for me. Doing American Horror Story. I've never touched horror before, but I've really, really enjoyed that show throughout the season. So I'm thinking about putting American Horror Story up. I also do The Have and the Have-Nots by Tyler Perry, and I'm also going to be doing If Loving You Is Wrong by Tyler Perry. I've also done this season of Game of Thrones, and I'm going to do the next season as well. And I also do my Elaine Stone analysis. I've recently decided to take one chapter out of The Winds of Winter to investigate and tear through and try to analyze. So I've chosen the Elaine chapter, and I've just written up my next section, and it will be up by tomorrow for sure. And
I even do it awesome. Yeah. And like you were saying, the way that you broke down the prologue tonight is different than I have ever looked at it. Mm-hmm. So very clever. I really appreciate that because I did. I mean, the prologue's only about 8 pages in the book. I was looking at the illustrated book before tonight. So it wasn't, something that was hard to read in just like 15 or so minutes or whatever. So I'm going to take another look. I don't think I'm getting all my context clues.
Well, I mean, it ain't so clever that anyone couldn't think of it. I mean, I just thought about all of the characters, all of our main characters, and they all fall within one of those categories, either young and uninterested, old and jaded, or smug.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So,
you own that shit, Mischa. Yeah. Anybody could have thought of it, but they didn't. So.
And then Maria actually mentioned earlier in the chat that it's crazy that Ned actually executed him in the show for telling the truth, and then Ned gets executed. It was vice versa. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maria, how did you put that again, babe? Sorry, my head's fuzzy. Okay. I just opened up my buddy soda, Shasta.
Yeah. Oh, the Shasta, yeah.
Buddy soda. Yeah. Anyway, but basically, they each one of them told the truth and still got executed. The other one lied and still got executed.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It was kind of like
either way,
little finger.
Yeah, it was showing you that being good doesn't
guarantee.
Yeah, in this world, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And in life, though,
they were throwing down some knowledge. Like, no, fuck you, you die. That's how shit rolls.
I want to talk. Can I talk about Littlefinger before we go? Just let me talk about my
homage to your favorite character.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate this. I just really felt that he could have done more with Littlefinger because I was going through that whole section And they were going down the laundry list of the things that he's done. Liza Aaron and the Moon Door. I mean, the man saved your life, Sansa. Don't give him a hard time over that. John Aaron and the Poison. I mean, Littlefinger, I mean, is not totally responsible for that. Liza Aaron was responsible too. The dagger, when they complained about the dagger, I mean, come to find out, he actually told the truth about the dagger. He admitted that it was his dagger. And Ramsay Bolton, that marriage, yes, that was really, really bad on his part, but apparently it was an honest mistake. He didn't think that Ramsay was such a terrible guy.
I really did believe him on that too. When he said, honestly, out of all the things that's ever come out of his mouth, I actually did believe that because in the books and also in the show, it seems like Roose goes to quite a bit of trouble to hide him. The things that he does.
To hide him, exactly.
Now the thing that
I mean, think about it. Nobody's ever met him, but people have physically met Jon Snow, and they're on the same social level.
But wait, the only thing when it came, okay.
And also the last thing that they complained about was the coup and the betrayal of Ned. I mean, he was serving his own king. Joffrey was the only king at the time, and Baelish was faithful to his own king while Ned was committing treason. Robb had not been voted king in the North, so it's not like he betrayed the North. Betraying. Oh, here we go with Marie. Here we go. I knew you were gonna pop up.
Okay. Well, wait. Let me throw a question into you, Mischa, that's been kind of bugging me when it comes to Littlefinger. Now, I don't understand why Littlefinger turned around and didn't take the option of just marrying Sansa, and why he instead married Sansa to Ramsay Bolton. Like, I mean, I can understand maybe it was for a political reason, but if Littlefinger really loved Sansa and he really wanted her, why didn't he, after he got rid of Lysa, why didn't he just turn around and just say, okay, well, this and that and whatever, but I'm going to end up marrying you and we're going to make this do this and that and whatever, I mean, for me, I would have found that would have been a perfect opportunity for Littlefinger not only to turn around and to end up catching Sansa because he loves that red hair, but then he would also be considered the king of Winterfell as well. He would have had such a good come up from if he would have done that instead of trying to sell her off,
Well, then he would have had to take Winterfell. At the time, he didn't know that Ramsay was a monster, and because Ramsay is not, he was a bastard. I mean, nobody knew anything about him. So at the time, it was actually a pretty good decision to place her there to get a foothold in Winterfell, because he couldn't just marry her and go there. They have to defeat the Boltons then. So he was just pretty much, that's how monarchies go. They put their kids with other, Spain puts their kids with fucking France. France puts their kids with England, Scotland, blah, blah, blah. You strategically place people, so you have a foothold.
Yes, but my whole thing is that if Littlefinger really had that love for Sansa, if it was me, I would have said, you know what, F it. I'm just gonna marry you. I want you so badly. I don't even give two fucks about Winterfell. I want you, and I want that that redheaded underneath. Don't you know? Anyhow,
but do you think Sansa would? So you think
dirty level?
But you're assuming Sansa would say yes. Sansa would have said no.
I agree, Justin. I agree. I don't think that she would have married him.
No.
I mean, I think that he thought that she wouldn't do it. So he thought it better to just send her off to someone else. Because I don't think that if he asked, she would have said yes. Yeah. I mean, I know that she was enjoying dangling herself in front of him and getting him interested, but I don't think she ever would have gone through with the deal of ever marrying him.
I don't know.
The way that Ramsay was presented too was like as a scheme. Like it wasn't like she was really. He's like, you can do this. You know what I mean? Like it was more of a game. She wasn't. True. She didn't feel like she was really giving herself to Ramsay. She thought she was gonna go there, get back home, and start running shit. And it turns out he's a fucking monster. You know what I mean?
She was in the position her mother had. Yeah, she might have to sleep with the dude. whatever. But she thought things were going to be different, or she would have went along with it.
Yeah,
True.
She thought she'd have more power in Winterfell. You know,
She didn't think she'd be locked up in a room, beaten and raped every day and tortured. And I do believe that he didn't know.
No, I believe it too.
I know, but I just the way
he wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, it wouldn't have benefited him. It didn't benefit him. It
wouldn't have benefited him. He wanted Sansa's support. That's what he wanted more than anything. He wanted Winterfell. He wants his, Westeros and to be the king if he could. But I swear to God, I don't think he
Sansa in there.
He wanted Sansa's support.
I think he actually thought if he placed Sansa there, that the Northern Lords would hold up for her if anything bad was happening to her, and they could create a coup and chaos like he likes to do, reverting the North back to Sansa, who, for all intents and purposes at this point in the story, everybody thinks would be the legitimate heir or her offspring, and then he could rule through her as he was doing in the Vale. But it didn't work out that way because Ramsay was a psychopath.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And even Roose treated Sansa.
I did a whole video on this. And he had his puppet in the Vale. Because he has Sweet Rabbit in the Vale, and then he had Sansa in Winterfell. That's a good deal. Like I said before, they took the kingdom with the Vale, the North, and then the Stormlands. He's setting up his people, his puppets. It was strategic.
I know, but the only thing that I still wonder is if Lord Baelish really wanted Sansa and he really loved her and he was just all up into that, just there was so many, even after Ramsay was gone and now Jon is out of town kind of deal. I wonder why Littlefinger hasn't tried to put his moves on that.
He kind of did.
He did a little bit. I mean, when they were kissing in the garden, he kind of made his feelings known right there.
Oh yeah, and she just kind of pushed away, revolted, no. Yeah.
All right, Marie's got a comment. We got to get Marie's comments in on him. Mischa, this is mostly directed at you.
Yeah, I know.
Littlefinger betrayed. I'm gonna read this like I'm Anne of Green Gables. Wait, okay. Littlefinger betrayed Sansa when he asked to be named Warden of the North and left Sansa to be raped while he played politics to Cersei.
It would be true if he knew about it. If he knew who Ramsay was, then I could totally see that as a betrayal.
Littlefinger. No, I agree 100%, Marie. I agree with you, but Mischa has I think you got a crush on him, Mischa.
I love Littlefinger.
We already know you got a crush.
Littlefinger died because he was thinking with his what. Yeah. The reason Varys is still alive is because he doesn't have a what, so he's more focused. Now here's the thing. Littlefinger has to be the only brothel owner to die trying to get ass. You know what I mean? He runs all the brothals.
That's one thing that I want to know is
Littlefinger.
Wait, what's his name? I hope you get to meet him, Jeez.
I want to know this. Did Littlefinger turn around and did he try out his whores before he put them on the market? I just, as my own self, I would think you would want to try the merchandise before you would actually.
Well, he did have them simulate intercourse with each other in the first or second season.
But that's each other, though. What I'm saying is that you would think that maybe Littlefinger would turn around and just take a taste of his own merch every once in a while.
Watch the Deuce. He didn't have a bottom bitch or anything. He wasn't running like real prostitution. Watch the Deuce.
Talking about bottom bitches.
Yeah. Well, that was. You know what I mean? That's straight how they do it, but. They played him off like he was above it. You know what I mean? He didn't sample the goods. He was above it because he was strategic. He wasn't in it for the ass. He was in it for the money and the power. Now, when they wrote him stupid this last season, he was somehow in it for the ass and sat there like a middle school kid in the corner of Winterfell, moping around with no contingency plan and fucking died. Over some bullshit because they wrote a stupid character because they needed him to be stupid. That's not Littlefinger. They didn't kill Littlefinger. They killed his retarded brother. I don't buy that. Littlefinger, he was crying.
Listen,
I know.
He got to the ladder. He's like, I can't climb.
This is a whole new area of expertise for the Wolf's Den, but I want Justin to explain to anybody listening now or futurely listening what a bottom bitch is.
I know. A bottom bitch is actually like the number one hoe. And
money earner.
Yeah, the money earner. And pimps, they provide a service to the ladies, and they make sure that they're dependent on them. It's a codependency, because what happens if somebody don't pay you? What happens if you're out there on your own because somebody's going to hurt you because they know nobody's protecting you and they're hurting them? And the bottom bitch is getting all the other bitches in line as well. It's kind of like a high, it's
a hierarchy.
Yeah.
It's pimp and hoe nomenclature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's kind of like the house mom. It's kind of like the house mom.
This is what I'm talking about. This is why I'm glad. This is why I'm so sad that they killed off Littlefinger, because it sparked so much conversation here. In a few minutes, all I had to do was
I was a DJ at a strip club on 8 Mile in Detroit for 2 years. So before I came to North Carolina, so I've seen this.
You've seen things.
Yeah, it's actually very disturbing. But there's some ladies that are down on their luck, and there's some opportunists that are pieces of shit. Mostly female. I've seen mostly females that take and they get the bitches and they put them in a house. They get webcams set up and they make them dependent.
Okay. Because
that's not too.
For a few years in my 20s, and I never worked at the Danny's in Memphis, but it's actually featured in a John Grisham movie, The Rainmaker, the one with Matt Damon. Like, that's the strip club parking lot that the shady lawyer's at, and supposedly there was prostitution going. And that's the first time I ever heard the term bottom bitch, was because somebody told me, they said, that's Whitley. She's Danny's bottom bitch. I am not making this up. It's 100% true, these stories. And then I danced with a really beautiful girl, and they were all in that show. They tried to bring some pills across from Mexico. I'm not making this up, y'all. And they were on Real Stories of the Highway Patrol. And
wow.
She gets out crying, going, I'm not a felon. I'm not a felon. And this bitch, the only one who was a felon. And you know what it was for? Soliciting, which is prostitution. And
pandering.
Stripping at Danny's. And this girl was a beautiful, beautiful girl. So, yeah.
Honestly, out here in Vegas, I've seen my own stuff. Like, I actually like what... I've seen them where I'll just be going out and doing whatever. Like, there was this one time when I went to the 99-cent store, I kid you not, and there was this guy, and he was in, like, it's probably 100 degrees out, and he's wearing this purple, like, fake fur, like, pant and suit kind of deal, and he had, like, the fake purple hat and everything, and he had the pimp cane, and he was going in the 99-cent store. I kid you fucking not. Out here only in Vegas. And so I sat there and I just looked, I was like, what the fuck? And then I would go out and I would just be taking my daughter and just going out for a stroll. And then I would end up seeing these girls, and they were all types of wearing hoochie outfits, and they had the whore uniform on, and they would sit there, and the woman, she would sit there, and like I've had it to where I've had a whore turn around and say, "Oh, your daughter's so cute," and then jump right into a car. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Well, as a DJ in a strip club, you have to manage the girls because there's something called skip money. Because you have to schedule them on stage, which means you have to go into the room where they're getting their makeup done because they look terrible before they go on stage. And there's some woman that does their makeup and they're getting dressed, and you have to say, who wants to go on stage first on a Tuesday afternoon? Nobody, because there's nobody there. They want to sit with the patrons, and they want to go and back and get. Hold on, they want to go and get their dances. So anytime that they're supposed to be on stage and they're in back giving a private dance, you get what's called skip money. So you get $10, and they try to not give you that skip money, so you got to keep them in line. So sometimes they get the bouncer and all that. So then that's why I left. I'm like, this is like fucking prostitution. I'm like, I'm sitting here chasing down these hoes trying to get my skit money. You know what I mean? Like, because they're trying to fuck. Some of them trying to fuck. Some of them
is like the B and C team, though. You know that day shift is like the C team.
I'm like, where's my skit money, bitch? It's like I became a monster. You know what I mean? Like, terrible. Like, I'm like, dude, like I'm not a bad guy. Like I'm a club DJ, and it's just terrible DJing for a strip club. It's like, we got Cindy coming out. She's got herpes, and she's giving me my fucking $10. You know, yeah, it was bad. They'd try to make deals with you not to have to go on stage, and then it's terrible. You're chasing down girls for your skit money. It's fucked up.
We didn't have such thing as that. You got in trouble, I think, if you wouldn't, but I mean, normally you wanted to. I mean, you know.
Meet a waitress at a strip club. She's only a waitress for 2 days before she becomes a stripper.
You know, I tell you what, it's hard to be. I mentioned it must be hard. It's hard to be in any industry where your paycheck is based upon your looks and what kind of performance you're willing to give. Because I know from my experience, there are some people who would do more than others.
See, and that's why when I used to do massage therapy, like in order for you to get working on the strip, like there's only one company on the strip that's called like a casino massage or something, and they're the ones that have like the little chairs, and you see them at the fashion show. Those are the only ugly massage therapists you will see on the Las Vegas Strip, because I had gone to so many places trying to put an application, but because I'm 5'1", short female, and I don't look like a Barbie, I could never get work on the strip. But then the funny thing is that the girls that they hire are crap, but they look so pretty, it doesn't matter, because you're not paying for the actual service of the work. You're just paying for the pretty girl turning around and rubbing you down and maybe rub one off.
Paying the $40 for the extra. Yeah. You want to feel good?
Yeah. You want the extra? You want the extra? Don't you know? But no. So that's why
I got a good massage when I was out in LA. Yeah. It gets.
Look,
oh my. Happy ending.
Out in the East, and I used to enjoy. Me and Russell ride by this place. You can tell by the colors. It looks like a throwback strip club, but it's a massage joint. And every time we ride by there, I ask my husband, I said, what's in there? He goes, you know what's in there. Shut up.
No, it's so sad because I went down to Chinatown over here in Las Vegas. It's pretty much like this one strip full of all the Asian places and shops.
Is there a Chinatown everywhere? That's fucked up.
But I went into Chinatown, and there was this massage place, and so I walk in, and there's like two of them. There's two of them in one strip mall, just one little small strip mall. And so I walk into the first one. The lady wasn't even behind the desk. She comes out of nowhere, and I'm like, "Hey, I want to book a massage." And she's like, "No, we don't do your massage." And I'm like, "What do you mean you don't do?" And she's like, "No, we don't serve you." And I'm like, and then I look down the hallway. And it's like, I swear there was stuff going on. I was like, oh shit! And I ran, and then I went to the other one, and that one was a completely different. Like they had all the stuff, and they did like the reflexology on your feet, and they soaked my feet, and oh my god, oh my god! But yeah, I've walked into these places.
I wish you could rub my feet right now.
No,
well, I think I got to get off the panel before I incriminate myself. I had an excellent time, so thank you, Jen. Thank you,
You're
Mischa.
So welcome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank
you.
You.
We'll have you join us again sometime. I don't know how often we're going to do this now that the season's over, but we were thinking about maybe doing some kind of bookish thing.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So and Shelley, right?
Yeah.
Am I getting that right? Yeah. See, you didn't put your name on there. You got
Reiki,
You're setting me up to be a
Reiki. I know. Oh, don't you know? I give happy endings, baby. It's all good.
No, you give happy endings to Game of Thrones. You make that real pretty. So
if only you knew. If only you knew.
You're legit. I know you ain't. I know you ain't like that.
God, Trader.
Yeah.
You kill me sometimes.
All right. I gotta go get my skip money. Gotta go get my skip money. So
Marie's checking out. Marie's checking out. So thank you, Marie.
How much was it to skip a stage call? How much was it to skip a stage call?
If it's $10, if it's one song, if they're back there for 3 songs, you know what they're doing, and then you get.
I hate when you have to do 2 songs.
Yeah. So it's a filthy business full of pieces of shit. So that's about it.
It is.
I left a week later armed, like guys with body armors and AKs. It's 8 Mile. Like I know people all know 8 Mile because of Eminem. They had AKs and body armor. Went in there and robbed that place after like a week after I quit. So
oh my God! Thank God you weren't there anymore. Really.
No, I don't know. They didn't kill anybody. Yeah, I got out of there. So I wanted to keep. I couldn't live with all that sin.
Right. It is. And I also find working at the casino was a very big, believe it or not, working at the casino was as big a drain on my soul as working at the shake joint.
Yeah, my family hated it because they knew I was DJing. I'm like, I'm going to do the strip club. They're like, what the fuck? I'm like, hey, it's the only place you can DJ during the day. I DJed 7 days a week for like 8 straight years. Yeah, you do clubs at night, and you gotta, exactly. Hey, they got the buffet
parties. Some of them have a pretty damn decent buffet. I worked at this place in Oklahoma. They had as good a breakfast buffet as Shoney's, I swear to God.
I know. Yeah, guys say that all the time. They got the best prime rib at some strip club, and it's like, yeah. And sometimes they do.
No, that's Arizona Charlie's, like straight up, like over here, like on the west side, Arizona Charlie had like the best biscuits and gravy, and it was like for $5. Oh my God! Oh
God! Okay,
all right. Thank you guys.
Yeah, really, Rachi. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Mischa. Thank you, Shelley. We're not sure when we're doing something again, but thank you so much, Justin, for being here with us, and we'll see everybody next time.
I had a really good time. Thank you guys.
Later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.